So you want to do that again?
This is Lydia Grant, the president of the Sunland-Tujunga Neighborhood Council. I'm calling the meeting to order at 7:01, and we thank everyone for joining us this evening. I'm going to go directly into, we called the meeting to order. We, in our remarks, I think I should give the date too. So tonight's the general board meeting for Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. And we had a wonderful turnout, and so much energy and time and hard work went into holding the fentanyl youth town hall event. Lala was not able to be here this evening. And I think that I'd like if Cheryl would like to give an update on that. Cheryl or Shauna, if you'd like to, just raise your hand and give us kind of a brief rundown of how the event went. I was unable to make it. Cheryl, your hand is up. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I shared some pictures earlier, but yeah, it was a great turnout. We had our outreach table, so we gave out helpful information there. And then one of the SLOs, Perez, came by. So he was at one of the tables. And then we had activities for the children as well, like face painting and games they could play. But the main focus of the event was to get trained in how to properly use Narcan, to know how to notice if somebody's having an overdose, and how to administer the Narcan. So then we walked away with 2 doses of the Narcan. So I carry mine in my purse at all times now. And I think there were 24 people who took the training. So the people that were connected with the county who put on the event were satisfied with that number. Thank you for everyone who participated.
Thank you. And thank you for putting up the photos. There was so much hard work that went into that. I mean, Lala everybody who participated put in a lot of work, but Lala it felt like she was doing 24/7 on it, just trying to make it happen. So we really appreciate the board members who helped out, and for anybody that's here that attended. Status of the STNC board approved light pole banners. Those are still in flux. Cindy, did you want to give an update on that?
I see Ricardo is here in attendees if we wanted to ask him, but we have a meeting with him on Monday, and there's no other updates. It's really sad that this is taking so long, but that's up to you, Madam President, if you want to, or if you want to wait till his time.
We can wait till his time.
Okay, thank you.
C is coffee and tea with the STNC. Cheryl, did you want to give us, or Shauna, a quick update on that?
Sure. It's this Saturday, February 11th, at the Do It Yourself Center in Tujunga, 10 a.m. to noon. And we're partnering or getting the coffee from 5.2 Patio. So we're trying out a new coffee shop just to try different ones out in town and to promote them. And so I've shared it on all of the local Facebook pages that I can think of. And I even reached out to LAPD if any of those officers want to swing by, if they're patrolling the area, to get a free cup of coffee and interact with us. And we'd love to shake their hands, and just anybody in the community to come. We'll have helpful resources and even items for children as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so any of the board members that are available, these are events that we put together. If you're available, please show up, and so we can talk to more community members. Thank you again, Cheryl, and thank you for the outreach committee for working on this. Next, we have roll call and voting eligibility. Carol, are you here?
Yeah, I'm just have to unmute myself. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, and if everybody else could unmute themselves, because I see everybody's muted. All right. Lydia Grant.
Here.
And you said Lala's absent. Okay.
Lala's absent.
Okay,
Chris is absent.
Shauna.
Here.
Thank
Here.
you. Ed. Bobby Kenyon. Carol Hutchinson is here. Lenny Freeman.
Yep.
Hello. Katie Travers.
Here.
Thank you. Trevor Schmidt. No Trevor yet. Okay.
He's 9898, last 4 digits.
Oh, is he in the audience?
Yes.
Okay, 9898. All right, Claire Gordon,
Here.
John Van Gunten.
John is absent this evening.
Okay, thank you. Karen Moran,
Here.
Belinda Woodruff. I don't see. Okay.
This
Cheryl
is
Smith.
Trevor Schmidt. I'm here.
Yeah,
Thank you,
hi, Trevor. I see you. Oh, thank you. Okay, Cheryl Smith.
Here.
Okay, and Mike Gotlio.
Here.
I see you there. And Shirley Kim,
Here.
Chris Rowe. No, Chris, okay. Nina Royal,
Here.
thank you. Cindy Claycorn,
Present.
thank you. Terry McCoy,
Present.
thank you. And Mark Siegel,
Like we used to say in elementary school, Aki.
okay, thank you. You have quorum, if you have 15.
Thank you. Are all of the board members, I know Raul said he may not be able to make it tonight. Do any of the board members who are here currently tonight know of any trainings that you're missing that, or any that need to be done? We have a couple people who've been trying to get the link to get in to get their trainings done and have a problem, but they're not at tonight's meeting. So if there is anybody else who needs to do trainings, who is having trouble getting into the portal, please email me and let me know. I would appreciate it, and we don't want you to get behind on your trainings.
Yes. I looked over the Empower LA and it looks like just those couple people that are having the trouble. I think everybody else is good for another month or so.
Okay, great, thank you. Are there any board members that would need to recuse themselves on any items on the agenda tonight, or any paid lobbyists in attendance? If there are, please raise your hand. I do not see any hands raised. Carol, do you?
No, I do not.
Thank you. So item C is announcement of board vacant seats. We have one stakeholder group representative seat, one position, and the details are available on our website at stnc.org. This is probably the last time we will be announcing that position. The reason I say that is because we have a window of time that if we cannot fill a board seat, if we're close to our elections, it's like 60 days out. We're a little over that, so we may announce one more time, but basically the positions for the board for this next election cycle, the candidate filing window is open. So anybody who plans on running for the board again, please feel free to fill out your application. And I just wanted to let everybody know. Let's move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Lenny, did you want to go ahead and lead us in the pledge?
I certainly will. Everybody sit up straight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
America.
to the republic
To the
for
republic.
which it
Under
stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Liberty.
Liberty
all.
and justice for all.
Oh, we got to go back to in person.
I think
Yeah, you're gonna
Lenny's
have to
gonna run
redo
new
that.
Gen 6 cable for everybody so we can be on the same link.
Otherwise, we need to practice or something, because it's actually almost like an art form that it kind of just comes out of everybody's hearts and mouths at different times.
It's
okay.
network latency.
Okay, so exactly, it's not our fault. Okay, so moving on to comments, LAPD, elected officials, representatives, done, and city departments. We'll go ahead and move into those so that anybody who has to get back to work can. And so let's go ahead. Anybody that would like to speak in this section, please raise your hand. And that's for any of our elected officials or city departments.
Okay, and Lydia, you do remember that you have a representative from the fire department here tonight,
Yes.
as well as LAPD.
Those are city departments. We got them.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and hold on. I can't see their names. Carol, can you?
Okay, so far I see Captain
Let's
Lozano.
let Captain Lozano go. Go ahead, Captain Lozano.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. I don't know if we seen each other since the start of the year, so Happy New Year to everyone. At Foothill, we've been extremely busy. It seems like, and all of LAPDs have been extremely busy. Your officers at Foothill continue to work very hard and diligent in their duties and responsibilities. As you see, we had a pursuit last week where we were pursuing an individual that was on parole, and he was in a stolen truck with with a female, and we went in pursuit of him. The pursuit didn't last very long. It was the pursuit time was about almost 4 minutes, and then the following was like another 3 minutes, so a total about 7. Unfortunately, that the suspect collided with an innocent, 2 other individuals that were just coming from eating tacos in Mission Division, and they were struck in their car, and both perished, unfortunately, and with my deepest sympathies to their families. So we're pursuing that extremely. I'm asking for to the highest prosecution, and that just got upgraded today to murder charges for that individual that was driving that truck. So I just wanted to give you a little update on that, because we were in the news a little bit the last week and a half. So moving on with the starting of the year, there's a couple of areas that I'm really going to be focusing in. And it also the Sunland-Tujunga area is in part of that I'm focusing in. The first one is going to be the burglary problems. We're really putting in a lot of resources and trying to catch these individuals and do very thorough investigations. We are up slightly from the start of the year to now, but this last week we saw some good trends. We only had 4 compared to like 11 the last couple of weeks before that. So we did take a couple of individuals in custody in regards to that. Another area, not so much in the Sunland-Tujunga, but in some of the homeless encampments, we did have a couple of rapes. The good thing about, there's nothing good about a rape, but the good thing is we did catch that individual, and he is going to be going up for those charges. We have good evidence and DNA to support that those charges. So, the 2 homeless females that were raped by him are receiving victim from the assistance from the court, LA County, and from us ourselves. The other area that I'm focusing in is going to be our theft. Specifically, our theft from motor vehicles. We continue to have a big problem with that. So if I can ask again, I know we always do it, but if you guys can just pass the word, don't leave valuables in the car, make sure they're locked. I can't tell you, I think we had 3 within the last 2 weeks where people just left the car running with the keys in there. One of them even left his wallet right in the dashboard, so that, people see that, and they're very opportunists for that. As far as our other crimes, we continue to focus in on those. We did have 1 homicide. It was an undetermined at the time. It was right at the beginning of the year. But luckily we got some good evidence, and now that's going to be classified as accidental. And the individual was riding his bike and just crashed and hit his head. We couldn't determine that when we started that investigation, but now we got the video that our homicide unit was able to locate. So that's really good news there. Last year we ended up with, and I won't go into all the specifics, but our violent crime, we were down like 4.5%, which is really good. The other area that I'm really focusing in, and you guys might have met him already, we got a new traffic officer for Foothill. His name is Officer Salvador Vinegas, and he's coming in and he is really taking a hold of that new assignment, and he's already met with us. He's attending meetings. He's already asking for extra traffic enforcement. And I know you guys had a few serious traffic collisions in your area. So I'm asking for some more mortars up there, some radar task forces in there. And I'm also asking for a DUI task force in that area. But that's about it. Sergeant Ojeda and our new senior lead officer Godoy is on there, and they'll get more into the specifics. If anybody has any questions for me, I'm available.
Thank you. I actually do have one quick question, and that is, one is information, and that is there was 1 week that we had 2 accidents. One of them was somewhere around AutoZone, and there was a fatality. And the same day there had been, or the day before, there had been a hit and run with a bicyclist.
Yes.
And I just wanted to inform you, in case you did not know, that bicyclist also passed away.
Yes, and both of those individuals did pass away, and that's why I'm asking for that. And the big thing that for some reason in that area, speed's the factor. You guys have those very wide streets, and so we're asking for more radar up there. So I'm asking for more citations in that area, strong enforcement. But yes, unfortunately, we did have that. And then you had that other accident also with the bus, and that was and then, the left turns are always a problem. So speeding and making left turns in front of oncoming vehicles is also a big factor. But I am asking for more stronger enforcement. And I know you guys have been pushing for a specific mortar to be assigned there. So I'm backing that up with some data to help see if we can get that done. But everything is about right now is about staffing. We're still down. And we're even down more now. I think it's over 800 and I don't know the exact number, but it's over 800, almost 900 officers. So we keep going down in staffing. So we're trying to maximize our efforts, and we're also going to be using social media a lot more to try to put out some traffic bulletins, the 5 traffic intersections that have the most traffic collisions and citations. So we're doing that.
Thank you. And we are trying to get you financial help from our state legislator, Senator Portantino. He's working on it. So we will help if we can.
Well, I really appreciate it. And Lydia, thank you for always, being in the front of that. But any little thing helps us right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lydia,
So,
I have a quick question.
I see that. I was just going to call on you. Cindy, go
Okay.
ahead.
Captain, you said that we have a new officer, Salvador, for traffic. Is that widespread in the Foothill area? Because you said that he was partaking in meetings, and I was curious to know what those meetings would be.
Yes, he's attending like coffee with a cop, introducing himself, giving out his telephone number and email address. So if you have a specific a traffic problem, he will focus in on that and see if he can get some resources. But yes, each division has a traffic officer that's specifically assigned to that division. And they're basically our liaison and our resource to get traffic resources in there for us. So before that, Officer Flores was our traffic officer, but he just recently retired, and that's why we got Salvador Venegas.
Well, we thank you very much. I see, was there any other questions from the board member or the community? So we can, I wanted to make sure that we allow our, oh, I see a hand, hold on. Officer Coloca, go ahead. Or acting, I know who it is, never mind. I'm messing up. So Officer Herrera, go ahead.
Yes, hey, how you doing? This is Officer Eric Herrera, and starting Sunday, I'm going to be the acting senior lead officer for Officer Coloca. I just wanted to take a minute to introduce myself and give you a little bit of background. I've been with the department for 16 years, and I worked numerous assignments such as VICE, a violent crime task force. And I've actually been working basic car 5, 9, and 35 almost since I started in Foothill in 2019. So starting Sunday, I will be the acting senior lead officer for Caloca, and I'll be working in conjunction with Officer Godoy together on the cars to try to help with the problems. Like the captain said, I was out there this morning with Officer Godoy, who impounded a motorcycle off of the homeless encampment of Orcas and Foothill. As well, I was also the one that handled the traffic collision on Foothill and Sherman Grove, which the captain mentioned, which was speed was a factor. And also the biggest problem in 5-9 is the park at Fenwick, just with large crowds. So we'll be working on that. But like I said, starting Sunday, I'll be the acting slow for Officer Caloca for the next 2 months. So my contact info will be on there, my email. My serial number is 38507. And, I'll be available for anything. And I'll put in there my city cell phone number as well. And just real quick, just to piggyback, last night, our officers did an outstanding job as well. They did a traffic stop where they recovered a firearm in the 210 freeway. So that was a really good arrest. I believe the person was on probation for possession of ammunition, but they did a traffic stop, proactive enforcement, and they were able to recover a firearm. So I just want to take a minute to introduce myself and just say I'm looking forward to working with you guys.
Thank you. And we look forward to working with you. Okay, before I call on you, we did have someone from the LA Fire Department here. I'm looking to see who that was. Can you raise your hand? Oh, go ahead.
Hi, hello everybody. Good evening. My name is Vince Alvarado. I'm the Battalion 12 commander here at LAFD. We actually reside here at Fire Station 98 in Pacoima. However, our battalion covers 7 fire stations, one of them including Fire Station 74, 24, and 77 that all would respond to your neighborhood in case of a 9/11 emergency. I just wanted to join the meeting to introduce myself and to let you know if you have any needs from the fire department, you can reach me directly. I'll email all my information to the council as soon as the meeting's done. Just a couple things that I wanted to kind of reemphasize in my few shifts that I've worked here over the course of the last couple of months since December. We've had 2 structure fires within the area of Sunland-Tujunga, and in both structure fires, smoke alarms were key in early recognition to ensure that people were saved and property damage was minimized. One of them was a Christmas tree that had an electrical cord that had some kind of short that actually started a fire where a neighbor heard the smoke detector, which enabled us to respond and put the fire out before it caused significant damage to the house. So wanted to remind everybody about how important smoke detectors are. Another fire we had on Sherman Grove within the last month gave early recognition to the 3 people that escaped to prevent, a loss of life. So just want to reemphasize smoke detectors are important. And I wanted to also direct everybody, if you have not looked at the LAFD.org website, there's great information. I was thinking about the Syria and Turkey earthquake, and a lot of times, we get complacent, normalized to not having earthquakes. We haven't had a big one in a long time, but as you know, we live in earthquake land. So for members trying to prepare your families, there's a great book that's linked to this website, LAFD.org. It has a lot of good information to prepare the community as well as your families. Other than that, just kind of a synopsis on our calls over the last year when it comes to 911 for fire department in this neighborhood. LAFD has responded last year to almost 500,000 calls of 911. 3,000 of them were in Sunland-Tujunga. And out of that 3,000, just so you know how the community is doing, 90% of them are emergency medical service, everything from a broken ankle to a heart attack, and less than 1% is structure fires. So it says a lot about how well everyone is hardening their home, maintaining, and are fire safe. The one thing I like to stress to everybody that the best defense against having a structure fire. There's good fire prevention, and it looks like everyone in this community is doing a great job. Other than that, that's all I have. End of report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate having you. We appreciate working with you in the future. Carol, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment to Commander Lozon Alvarado. I do live in the area of the Sherman Grove fire, and I just want to commend you and your firemen on the response to that fire on Sherman Grove. Before the explosions, there were numerous, if nobody lives in the area. It started with one explosion, another, and then another. And anyway, before the explosion stopped, the fire department was there, and it was quite impressive. So they got that handled right away, and we really appreciate that. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. And we definitely appreciate the fire engines that responded, from the LA City Fire Department. The one thing about my position, being the battalion commander, I'm outside, running the fire, organizing and managing it, and making decisions for, the people who actually go inside and can lose their life. And it's a unique situation where very rarely do I have put myself in harm's way because I'm outside. But the gentleman that actually, it was also another cooperative agency that helped us out. They did a great job containing the fire to literally the house that had the explosion and minor damage to the exposure structure on the south side. But we appreciate that, ma'am, and our members are really great in this battalion. You should feel safe that you do have the best here in Battalion 12. These firefighters take the job serious, and they're you can trust them with whatever you call them for.
Thank you so much. So before we move on, Sergeant Ojeda or Officer Godoy, did either of you want to speak? I didn't see your hands raised. Just raise your hand if you want to speak.
Officer Godoy, go ahead.
Okay,
You
go
guys
ahead.
got me? Hello, you guys got me?
Yes, we do.
Okay, hi, how you guys doing? So I'm Officer Godoy. I am working 16835. That's my new car, my permanent new car. And I have a bit of numbers and percentages that I would like to read to you, especially because they're on the negative side. So we've been experiencing a lot of percentage-wise, a good thing. Crime has been going down as far as robberies. Robberies we took down, we're at negative 33% for this month. Aggravated assaults, we are down 50%. What's the other one? Grand theft auto, we are down 22%. Burglary from motor vehicle, we're down 37%. Personal theft, we're down 66%. Total property crimes, we are down total of 21% for the year. So we're doing great in those aspects. The only negative that we have is the burglary. And the captain already touched on that. We are working on identifying some people, additional people. We've already arrested. Patrol has already made a couple of arrests on people. We're looking forward to conduct other investigations that could potentially lead to other arrests. As far as the park goes, a lot of vehicles have been impounded. I've been working on cleaning up the park as far as graffiti goes. The homeless encampments, I've been working on moving them. I've actually got one placed who was a veteran. So he's been placed, looking to do a second one, which is located by the golf course. The other big project that, and it's a project, is the Foothill and Orcas. So city already came in, did a couple of cleanups. During those cleanups, there were some vehicles that were illegally parked and they were impounded. As recent as today, I just impounded one and I'm getting ready to do another one tomorrow. So I'm cleaning it up little by little. A lot of motorcycles are getting dumped there, I've noticed, but that still requires a regular impound because it is a motor vehicle with a VIN number. So other than that, I think my area is looking pretty good except for the burglaries. I am looking to do some other stuff that I'm going to get together with the captain and see with my sergeant and the captain and see if it flips the bill. And that's about it. If you guys have any questions, I'm all for it.
I don't see any hands raised. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys. We really do. And we look forward to working with all of you. Oh, Sergeant Ojeda, go ahead.
Yes, real quick. Good evening, everyone. Just for clarification, I know the officers have been talking about 35 and 59. So just for clarification for everybody on the call, basic car Adam 35 encompasses Lakeview Terrace and the Sunland area from Mount Gleason to the west. And 59 is Mount Gleason to the east. So therefore, Officer Godoy is in charge of basic car 35, and Officer Herrera, who's filling in for Officer Coloca, is filling in for basic car 59. But Mount Gleason roughly is the border for those two areas, just for information. So as far as for this Saturday, Officers Godoy and Officers Herrera will be stopping by at the coffee this Saturday over on Tujunga. So expect them on Saturday. And then also this Sunday, we have students from LA at Handsome Dam. We have roughly about 3,000 students from all over the county in preparation for the LA Marathon. So if you're an avid runner or not, come on by and join in on the fun. Going back to our new traffic liaison, Officer Venegas, for those who are in CPAB or would like to participate or sit in, he's going to be introducing himself and providing stats at our CPAB meeting tomorrow at the Japanese Center at 6 o'clock with CPAB. Also, tomorrow at 10 a.m., for those of you who have driven down to Brantford and San Fernando Road, the reason I bring that up is they're going to be opening those tiny homes. It's approximately a little over 70 dwellings that the idea is going to be to get people experiencing homelessness in the area to hopefully come indoors and utilize that facility. So I'm hoping some of the folks in the general area, even up to Handsome Dam and closer to Sunland, will be able to take that housing and bring them indoors. I'll make it brief. I know you have a long agenda. Are there any questions for me?
I do not see any hands raised. Again, thank you guys so much for attending our meeting and giving us updates.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you too. Declan, did you want to go ahead next?
All right, sounds good. Declan Floyd from Senator Portantino's office. Good to be with everybody as always. So recently, the senator was up in Sunland-Tujunga for the Village Poets reading. He read 2 original poems, so that was great. Thank you to everyone who was there for having him. I was also in the STNC Traffic Safety Committee a few weeks ago, and so I heard a mention of the efforts to get another get some money for another LAPD traffic officer. So yes, that is in the works. The state budget situation is not looking great, but it is on our list. And so the senator is going to try to get that in the state budget this year if he can, but we'll have more information as the months go on here in the process. A couple of bills that the senator has brought up. I also heard there was discussion of Narcan and the training with all of that, which is great. Senator Portantino has introduced SB 234, which is going to require all schools, stadiums, concert venues, everything like that, to have Narcan on premises to save lives in the event that someone overdoses, which is unfortunate. We hope it doesn't happen, but we know that it happens all too often. So hopefully that bill will pass, and that will save people's lives in a lot of our public spaces. And then the other bill that I know everyone is excited about is our neighborhood council bill, which does not have a number right now, but I believe it's being introduced either tomorrow or Friday. So I will have that number for everyone. And if we put out a press release or a fact sheet or anything, I will make sure, Lydia, that you get that. And of course, you know, as we move forward, if you want to agendize maybe a support letter for that bill or something, that would be great. And I'll keep everyone apprised of when it's going to be heard in committee if people want to call in support. Basically, the bill is going to allow neighborhood councils to continue meeting virtually as the emergency orders are set to expire. So we might have a couple months here where you got to be in person as the bill's working its way through the process, but we're hopeful that that'll be passed and signed by the governor And then we'll be able to get back to having more flexibility with the scheduling, which of course has significantly increased public participation, and it's just much more convenient for everyone. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but again, as soon as that bill is introduced, I'll let everybody know, give you the number so you can hopefully start calling in and support.
Thank you. And definitely let us know, because if it means we can drive to Sacramento to speak to it, we're happy to do that. Anything we can to help with that. I actually have, if you have a pen and paper handy, if you don't, that's fine. I can send it to you, but I have a little bit of information that was given to us last night at the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners meeting.
Yeah, that would be great.
And that is that the department manager, Raquel Beltran, stated that since July 1st, there have been 88,000 people who have attended neighborhood council meetings.
Wow.
And because of Zoom, they have been able to track that. So that is since July 1st, 88,000 people.
That's incredible. And you just think about, I mean, I have only been with the senator's office when we've been on Zoom. So I don't know how many people you were getting, beforehand, but I think it's clear that the public participation has gone way up from everybody, from board members, from our police officers, from government reps, and from the general public. So it's really been great. And so thank you. That's really amazing information to have. So I will pass that on. But yeah, I like I said, the bill should be introduced either tomorrow or Friday, and I'll let everybody know as soon as that happens.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And I'm going to make a statement because I think it's something you need to know about the urgency and some of the problems we're having. And one of the reasons I'm going to make this statement is because we know that Michelle Vergara is also here from Mayor Bass's office, and we're going to have her speak next. But I wanted to let the board members know, again, more information that was brought out last night is one of the things that we've been fighting to get information on is when we go back to in-person meetings, is there going to be COVID restrictions? Will the neighborhood councils have to check people's vaccine cards? What kind of restrictions are in place? We have been waiting for this information. We've been begging for the information, and the department manager would not give us this information. So I wanted to give you this update because we just heard last night that they're going to schedule. So we're supposed to return to in-person meetings now on March 1st. That's basically the mandate. Not all neighborhood councils have a place to meet at this point. We're working on it. And the other thing that's really critical is it came out last night, and please board, hold your conversation. We'll talk about this a little bit later. That they're going to mandate that all neighborhood council board members have to be vaccinated. So I think that really creates an urgency, especially for boards like ours that have multiple disabled people, because that will basically be discriminating from them being able to attend meetings and doing their jobs that the community elected them to do. So I just wanted to share that with you. And they have said there will be no restrictions for any of the public. So they will not be treating people equally. That is something, again, we'll discuss later in our meeting, but I think that it's also important information to share with Senator Portantino.
Yeah, thank you. I will definitely pass that along, and I'll make sure our Capitol office has that information as well.
Thank you, appreciate it. So are there any other questions for Declan before we let him go? I know he usually attends multiple meetings. Oh, Pat, go ahead. Can you speak?
Now I can.
Okay, go ahead.
You guys had unmute me. And I just wanted to thank Declan for coming to our Safe Traffic and Transportation Committee, and also for speaking with me at Senator Portantino's New Year's event in January in Glendale about the very important issue of getting another traffic officer up here in Sunland-Tujunga. As we experienced last week with that horrible traffic accident, our whole community suddenly is roadblocked because we only have one main street, Foothill Boulevard, to get in and out of. And it created such bad traffic problems with trying to divert traffic off of Foothill onto side streets. And then, you know, of course, everybody was backed up on every side street. So we really do need traffic control. We need to get these people off the road who are causing accidents, causing fatalities. And I just wanted to also let you know that at our last STAT meeting, we did have a visit from Officer Joel Flores, who is our Valley Traffic Officer, who Officer Venegas is going to be replacing in February. And Officer Flores told us that there were 9 fatalities in the whole Foothill District last year. And of those 9, 4 were in Sunland-Tujunga. So that gives you something to think about. You know, we have an unusually high percentage of fatalities, and it's just getting worse. So thank you, Declan, for taking this seriously and helping us. And we hope that we are able to get the money through Senator Portantino's efforts. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there any other questions or comments for Declan? I don't see any hands raised. Okay, Declan, thank you so much for attending. We love working with you. You know that. And please let us get the information as soon as that bill has been submitted so that we can follow up and making sure that we do take action on it and that we try to speak to it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I'll let you know as soon as it's introduced.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'd like to call on Michelle Vergara from the mayor's office.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can. And thank you so much for attending our meeting.
Yes, thank you for having me, Lydia. Nice hearing you and everyone on the board. My name is Michelle Vergara. I am the Senior and East Valley Area Representative for Mayor Karen Bass. As you all are well aware, Mayor Bass has been very busy since she took office with her Executive Directive 1, which helps to speed up the process of building supportive housing for unhoused Angelenos, as well as the Inside Safe initiative, which actually has been expanding across the city. And its main purpose is basically to help bring folks from encampments and from tents to a more permanent living situation with wraparound services to prevent them from getting back out on the street. So the operation started over in Venice and then moved on to Hollywood. On February 1st, it actually went over to West 87th Street and Western Avenue. So it's slowly making its way through the city. It will eventually come to the Valley, and I'm happy to share those updates as we get them. I think another thing that I want to flag for you all, which I'm sure you all are well aware already, but in case you haven't heard, there have been some adjustments to the COVID rental protections. So the eviction moratorium officially ended on January 31st. And at the same time, the city council did adopted certain new renter protections. So you can visit Los Angeles Housing Department website, so housing.lacity.org. And I can send this all to you via email, as well as Stay House LA, so that you can get more information on renters' rights, any virtual workshops, and get information on free legal assistance. So happy to share with that with you all. Happy to take any questions if there are any.
Are there any questions? If so, please raise your hand. I don't see any. Again, we thank you so much. We appreciate you coming. We know that you guys are busy. And I do have one quick question for you. We know that when they just did the Inside Safe and we're removing the homeless from Venice, can we ask where those homeless were sent to? And the reason I ask is because we just have a brand new housing homeless housing facility, and we had heard that they were moving the Venice homeless into our housing, and I was just curious if you knew the answer to that.
Yeah, so I know it was for one specific location. I'm not quite sure if it was the Venice one. I can double check for you on that to get you the accurate information. But usually what happens within these operations is they try to send them to, so the city does have leasing contracts with certain hotels or other different types of venues, right? So they usually try to keep them within the same area and send them to these spaces. However, I think when you know, when that didn't work out for this particular instance, this particular group was sent elsewhere, but that's typically not the protocol. They usually stay within their area. So I can definitely go ahead and follow up on that to get you that information.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Is any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you again so much. And thank you to everybody who is attending from these different offices. I'm looking through.
You have CD7.
Who am I missing? Yeah.
Ricardo.
Ricardo, go ahead, please.
Hi, Lydia. I'll be brief. Ricardo Flores, field deputy for Council Monica Rodriguez. We're getting a lot of calls in our office in terms of the actual SoCal gas rate increases. If you are struggling to pay your bill, the gas company does have an assistance fund that's available for all folks in the city and the state. If you feel, I can give you that number. If you could, give me a second to get you that number. If you're struggling to pay, call the gas company directly at 877-3238-0092, and they have certain guidelines that for you to qualify. I've been also driving to Tujunga, as most of you are aware. I officially took over to Tujunga about a few weeks. It's been about a month now. So I've been actually going into Tujunga, kind of driving the community and identifying locations that are considered hotspots. We do have an Operation Bright Spot program in our office that is available for to tackle locations in the district that are highly illegal dumped. If you have any locations within the Sunland-Tujunga area, please send them to me, and I'll definitely reach out and I'll have them cleaned up. A lot of the, in terms of the traffic on and in terms of the actual traffic on Foothill, if you guys noticed already, LADOT has gone in there and repainted stripes on protected bike lanes. That's actually new. They officially completed all the improvements in it. We did have brand new left turn pockets that are still pending, but that's going to be up. We are working with LADOT and LAPD in terms of try to find ways to reduce traffic. So we are talking with both departments on often to kind of see ways to reduce it, and it's just ongoing. So I'm glad Captain Lozano actually brought everything up. So we're going to continue working with departments to kind of see the way, or kind of see ways and ideas on how to reduce the traffic and the accidents I guess see out there. But if you want to get a hold of me, I'm actually based out of the Sunland-Tujunga office. I'll go ahead and give you my email. Feel free to send me an email if you need to get a hold of me. It's ricardo.x.flores@lacity.org. But if you have any questions, I'm here to answer now.
Thank you so much. I see Pat Kramer has her hand up. Pat, go ahead. Oh, sorry, Pat.
Hi, Ricardo. I've sent you a couple of emails about the same request that we had for Senator Portantino. Have you received that email with a letter requesting $100,000 in funding from our council member to get an additional traffic officer up here?
I haven't. Can you send me the letter again?
Sure. Yeah, we sent the letter twice. We sent it in October, and then we sent it again to your predecessor, Mary McAdam. I'll send it again to you, but we haven't gotten any response from the council member. I'm a little disappointed because public safety is her #1 priority, and she hasn't responded to this public safety request. The other thing I would like to ask of you is if you're speaking to LADOT about ways to minimize traffic, please involve my committee in that discussion. because we've been watching traffic trends here in Sunland-Tujunga for 7 or 8 years. We have a lot of information and we're all living here. So of course we watch it very closely. We know where the issues are. So we'd appreciate it if you could involve us in those discussions with LADOT.
Awesome. So first on the first one, go ahead and send me that email that you sent, Mary. I'll look into that myself here. In terms of conversations, as you were, and I'm pretty sure Pat, you're fully familiar with the way the process is in terms of LADOT traffic studies and all that stuff. So I could briefly, I could call you on the side. I don't want to keep on the same topic, but I could definitely look into it to see ways and if that we could actually work together in terms of if you have any ideas they want to share, send those to me and I'll definitely put those into LADOT's desk.
Yeah, and also decisions being made. We want to be involved in before any final decisions are made that affect anything to do with Foothill Boulevard or Sunland Boulevard, i.e. bollards or street narrowing. We don't want to see that because of emergency preparedness issues with fires in our area. We've had 3 fires which had mandatory evacuations. Again, we can't have streets narrowed because of that. So if LADOT is looking at ways to minimize or slow down traffic, let's talk about it before any final solutions are implemented and involve this community in making the decisions.
Okay.
Thank you, Pat. Carol, your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I do have one suggestion for traffic. The left-hand turn, the lights they just installed at Apperson and Foothill, I don't know, months ago, that is terrible. It's causing terrible backups in traffic because it should be a left-hand arrow plus a go on green. People are sitting at that intersection forever waiting for the arrow to turn green, and then there's blank street where they could have turned, but they're held there at the intersection because of the turn signal. Also, with the street narrowing, they now made Apperson a no right turn on red. This is causing terrible backups on Apperson, and people are starting to turn around middle of the street and go back and take side streets, go through the neighborhoods rather than turn at that intersection. That street light was a horrible, horrible thing. There were never problems there before, and now there's nothing but problems. So that's my suggestion, fix that. Thank you.
All right, what I could do, let me have LADOT review those intersections. But yeah, definitely I'll have them go back out there and see those. That's pretty much, I wouldn't have an answer now, but I'll definitely bring it up again in our next meeting.
Thank you. We'd ask them to check it during rush hour. It'll give them a better idea of the problem.
Okay, this was in the morning.
Yeah, I think that's when they're when they do these traffic studies, that's also being considered, right? You know, we have peak hour times and we have traffic times that, I mean, we don't have the same issue the entire day. So I think that's something that we always keep in consideration when making these, right? It's like, okay, when is it heavier? And, you know, I'm not an LADOT engineer, but, you know, there's times frames where there's lights that signal lights are actually based on the flow of traffic. So, so I know that's all taken into consideration already.
Thank you. We appreciate you responding. And then I also see Cheryl has her hand up. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Okay, this is similar, unless Carol said this already. The speed feedback sign, did she talk about that also at the Foothill and Apperson? It's that sign, the speed feedback sign. When you're traveling west on Foothill, it's on the right-hand side by that Shell station. And, you know, the whole rationale behind it was, oh, we don't need officers giving out tickets. We'll just give the speed feedback signs to slow people down. It's not even working. Every time I drive by it, it doesn't light up at all. Has anybody else noticed that?
Which one is the one that was, are you bringing up?
It's on Foothill, the intersection near Apperson. Yeah, right before you get to the councilwoman's office.
Yeah, and you're right, it isn't working.
It is not working.
Yeah, those
At
are
least
new.
for a few weeks.
They had a lot of spec signs installed, so those are brand new. Let me see that they're actually I believe they're solar panel. I'll have them check those. There's a few that were installed on the foothill. So I mean, it's just that those feedback signs are only to create to caution the vehicle, the speed, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It works when you see your speed going over that speed limit. I mean, that it's kind of like an illusion, right? I mean, it's not meant to give any citation by, there's not a camera or anything like that. So what I could do, I'll have the department go out there and see if the ones that are not turned on, if they're solar panels. So I'll check that out.
Thank you. And also, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, Ricardo, but if you could give the board, so I don't have to, the update on our ability to use the council, the municipal building for our neighborhood council meetings. What
So
the
not to go
status
into
is.
detail, so as you guys are aware, and Michelle just brought it up as well, we just emergency order just lifted January 31st. We're also trying to figure out how we're just figuring out how small municipality buildings are going to be operating. So we're actually in the conversations about that as well. So as soon as I have better detail, further updates, I'll definitely reach out to you, Lydia.
Thank you.
But yeah, we're still trying to figure out those. I mean, they haven't mentioned anything about small municipalities, and we're actually still trying to figure out how those are going to be operating.
But the current message is that we would have to end our meetings by 8:30, so we would be
Exactly.
out of the building by 9.
That's correct.
See, and it's interesting because we know that the department's been trying to help us get into the building, but we have board members who don't get home until 7. So that it's not feasible for us to start our meetings at 6 or 6:30 to be out of there by 8:30. So
We could continue the conversation. I don't want to hold the agenda, but we could continue the conversation outside after. If that's something you want to continue conversating, we could continue have after the agenda is over.
okay, well, we are temporarily, we are going to be requesting to go to Apperson Elementary if we can get the permits to get in there, so that we have somewhere to go, and either we go back to we're able to come back to Zoom, or so that we have something as a backup. Carol, I see was your hand back up, or?
Yeah, my hand's back up. My question is, in this, if we were able to end by 9, does that mean, do we have to set up our own chairs, our own tables, our own microphones, do we have to do all our own labor and hold our meeting? I'm just really curious, is that if we moved into the North Valley City Hall, would we have to do all that? I'm hoping Ricardo
So is that
has
a question.
Yeah, that is a question, because one of the things is, so many of our board members work full-time jobs, and then we're supposed to come in and open up and set up chairs, set up tables, set up microphones, and clean up all the trash, clean up and put everything away. And I just wonder how they expect us to be done by 9.
Carol, we could talk. I mean, I don't want, like I mentioned again, I'll repeat it again. We could continue this conversation outside the agenda. Like I mentioned, we're still trying to figure out ourselves, now that the emergency order is lifted, how are we going to be operating ourselves? So we don't have anything as of yet, but definitely we could, now I'm 100% into the Sunland-Tujunga area. We could have conversations outside the agenda if you like.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Ricardo. Okay, did we have any other elected officials offices or city departments that we missed before we move on in our agenda? Just want to make sure. Okay, Carol, I also see that Belinda Woodruff is here.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I didn't know if you had seen her. Okay. So going ahead and moving on, the next item was discussion action, finalized date for board retreat and recommended topics. I got to tell you, I had every intention of doing a board retreat, but all of my time has been tied up in trying to deal with these regulations that they may throw at us, this trying to get back to starting our meetings, are not being able to get information. I have been at every meeting I could possibly be at to try to get reports back, because as of last night, we had no idea, and we're supposed to start meeting on March 1st. There's only 28 days in this month, so it's really 20 days notice. The department's gonna have a meeting for us on February 23rd is a Thursday night, February 25th, to tell us what our instructions are gonna be to go back to in-person. And then it will be too late for us to be able to do anything if there's a glitch. So I want to let's go ahead and move on to some of the other items, but I do have a special item that I'm going to need to add to tonight's agenda, which I have all the documentation and I can read the rules of being able to do that. But I would like to go ahead and make sure that we get these board vote counts done first. So I'm going to go in and move, and I know we have the STNC office. I don't think any of us know what we're doing at this point, but let's skip to item number I want to go ahead and move to item sorry, I just clicked myself off. I'd like to move to item. Cindy, are there any recommendations from the land use committee?
No.
Okay. So I would like to do a brief update on the STNC board elections so that we can get moving down to the action items and the committee reports. And then we'll come back up and go to the STNC office and the other action item. So number 7 would be discussion possible action for STNC board elections. A candidate filing is now open. The website is there of how to file to be a candidate. To finalize the official polling location, it has not been confirmed yet by the city clerk. We had suggestions that we voted on, including Vaughn's parking lot, Howard Finn Park, New Hope Community Church, Aurora Banquet Hall, North Valley City Hall, Tujunga Methodist Church, Sunland Rec Center, Sunland Senior Center, or Apperson Elementary School. That's still the list we have. We haven't singled out any one location, so we need to work on that. If somebody wants to help make calls and see if what we think is feasible, it could be the outreach committee does that because they're working on the elections, but we need to pin down a location. The city needs us to, they need to check it for ADA compliance. I did want to just make one point, and that is that we had originally requested North Valley City Hall to be our location for our elections. The council office sent a letter to the city clerk's office saying that the building was still under construction, so we could not have our elections there, which was very interesting because the letter came from the city council member in August, and they had done their ribbon cutting and grand opening the May before that. So we're still trying to be able to use the building that our taxpayer dollars pay for, but we're just not having much luck. So we need to get the final location going for our election. I'm gonna, Carol, just take it off. Hold on.
No, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. Cindy's got it tonight.
That's okay.
Well,
I screenshot it, so I'm gonna try to bring it up real quick.
Okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to put the packet up.
Oh, okay. I understand that. Okay. So let's continue and then we can put the packet up. So finalize, review, and approve the STNC ballot voting model. Possible motion regarding done election outreach through Pacoima Beautiful. Review and approve STNC election plans. At new STNC board will be seated at the July 12th, 2023 board meeting. And so just letting you know that May 10th general board meeting will be the last meeting we can vote on funding items. So I'm just giving you the heads up so we can take care of the things we need to before the end of the fiscal year. So we'll go through these one at a time and see if we're going to take action on them. Item A, candidate filing now open. There's no action needed. Where did it go? There's the memes that we've been putting out to let people know. The deadline is March 20th.
This is the what's up on the website, what you're
Okay.
looking at.
Okay,
And
thank you,
each of
Cindy.
these are clickable. that
So
contribute-
I just want to bring up something because a couple people have noticed. We had changed our board seats. So we now have some new seats. We have more region seats, but we took away the group rep seats. The group representative seats that we now have are specific to a topic. So we added so we took out the 7 seats. We added 1 extra secretary. So we have a recording and a corresponding secretary because it was way too much work for 1 people because we have the website and all that other stuff. And then we added 2 region reps in region 4 because we only had 2 region reps to cover from the Sunland-Tujunga exit on the freeway all the way to the Verdugo Hills Golf Course. We only had 2 people. And on the other side of Foothill, we had 6. So now we have 4 on region 4, which is the south side of Foothill. And we added an additional region rep into region 3, which was because we have so many apartment buildings and stuff being up there. We figured that there's more of an influx of people up there. So 3, that's where 3 of those group rep seats went, 4, including the secretary. And then we added 3 seats. 1 is a public safety representative, and that person will be responsible for either chairing or co-chairing a public safety committee. We also have education representative, which will chair or co-chair an education committee, and a senior representative, so that they would be responsible for chairing a senior committee. It could be senior in health, whatever they would want to put together. But that way we can start bringing in the resources from some of these organizations like DWP and the gas company and One Generation. They have all these wonderful programs for seniors, but we're too far away to access any of them because they're not being brought to us. And we're hoping that's what will generate from that senior seat. So those are the board seats. They're all posted here so you can see. Those are the seats that we will have available for board members for the STNC. And the current candidate window is now open. And then Cindy, did you want to?
And then you have the region seats. You have the same 2 seats for region 1 and region 2, and now 3 seats for region 3 and 4 seats for region 4. There's the, as you already said, corresponding recording secretary, and then the 2 vice presidents, outreach and community improvement. And then the voting model ballot, did you want to go to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is the ballot model, which we had briefly shown last meeting and had a question about. We met with Paola, who is our representative with the city clerk's office, and got that clarified. These will show you the number of ballots. So this is the region 1 ballot. It tells you all the positions that if you live in region 1, live, work, own property in region 1, you can vote for these seats. Region 2, you vote for these seats. Region 3, you vote for these seats. Region 4, you vote for these seats. And then there's the 1 at-large ballot. So, which is a requirement by the city that there be 1 at-large position on every board in the neighborhood council system. And so with that, we've clarified that, and now that's set to go. Next, did you want to cover the locations?
If you want it, so do we need to vote on the voting, the ballot model?
The city clerk said that it didn't require a vote, but you know, this is Sunland-Tujunga and we wanted everybody to be aware. So
Okay.
that's, we put it on the agenda as a voting item.
Okay, I don't think we need to vote on it because we had already discussed it at the last meeting and we just had a couple questions. I think we're good, but I just wanted to make sure, unless Raul, you're here, do you have any input on this item?
Is Raul here?
Yes, he is. Go ahead,
Okay.
Raul.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I just logged in. No, I think you're right. Cindy said you don't have to vote on this. So you should be fine not voting on it tonight.
Okay, we just don't want to do anything wrong. Thank you so much for your input. Okay, Cindy, the next items.
The location for our, you know, because we have a vote by mail and we have in-person voting this time. And the city clerk is anxious to get the choice. And those that are listed on 7B on the agenda are the ones that we have, you know, we've had some in the past, we've had, and they've been suggested. The middle of our community is North Valley City Hall and of course Vaughn's. So whether the city clerk would allow an outside Vaughn's location, I don't know. There's also Howard Finn Park should North Valley City Hall not be open. But we do need to get, we do need to make a choice. We did make a choice before as North Valley City Hall as our primary. And then as Lydia said, the council member wrote that it's under construction, which is no longer true. And then the backup or the alternate is the library. And that's been not recommended due to the parking conflicts that location has. So with that, it'd be nice to hear from other board members to see what they would like to recommend perhaps from this list.
Let's do it this way, Cindy. So the board has already approved all of those locations. So I think what we need to do is maybe ask the board if there's any that they would like to eliminate. If you have a list of them, I don't know if you have a list of them that we could look at, but we could eliminate some of them and then we could start calling to see which ones actually would be feasible. For example, one of the things that was always big to me about doing our neighborhood council elections was that we would have a picnic or barbecue or something that the community could have conversations with each other and network with each other. So if we do it at Vaughn's parking lot or some of those others, that's not an option. The other thing we could do is we could contact Aurora Banquet Hall. They were so generous in letting us hold our fentanyl town hall there. They may be interested in letting us use that space. It has plenty of parking. We could have a barbecue outside. So that location might rise to the top. And we also have to be cognitive. Okay, so this is another thing that we've just heard. And that is that originally they had told us that there would be COVID restrictions for the elections and that anybody who did not have a COVID vaccination would have to vote by driving up and calling for them to bring a ballot out to them. That has now been canceled. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. So we don't have to worry as much about those drive up spots, but we still need to do that for anybody who's disabled, who would like to vote, who does not want to get out of their car. So Cheryl, your hand is up. Did you have a comment?
Yeah, in terms of eliminating, I think the more central we can be for the entire Sunland-Tujunga area, the better. So I would suggest eliminating anything on the outskirts, such as Sunland Recreation Center, Sunland Senior Center, and I guess New Hope as well. But the other ones I think are more central. So I would think that would be more fair. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other comments from board members? Go ahead, Nina. Nina, go ahead.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, I had put in a request from a former board member if we could use the Knights of Columbus. I'm waiting to hear back from him. he's out of town right now. And also another suggestion could be the church across the street from Little Landers Park that has a big parking lot on the side and easy entrance. And we could maybe do a barbecue in the park right there at Little Landers Park. It's something to look into. Pastor John's been very good about letting us use his lot and stuff during National Night Out. So I could check that out too, if you all are interested.
Yeah, please check those out. And actually, if you have extra time and can help us call the ones that we've already
I can.
approved, that way we have some backups.
Also, the Elks Lodge has a great big parking lot. So, and those are all centrally located. And if you
Okay.
can think of anything else in that area, because that's right smack in the middle of our community.
Great. I'll have you help us pin down a location. We'll call some
Okay.
people. I'll help
Be
you with
glad
that.
to.
Mark. Okay. Any other comments from board members on the item? Any comments or from the community members? If so, please raise your hand. If you're on the phone, it's *9. Otherwise, we'll stick with the list that we have for now and we'll exhaust it and make sure that Ms. Moran, go ahead, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really interested in this meeting. Like I said, I live in Region 2 of Tujunga, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, previous executive at a concert promoter doing brand and marketing, and I'm really interested in volunteering my time and getting involved with the board. So I did look at some of the paperwork online, and I'm not sure if the date is correct, the one that I printed out in the attachment said 2021. So I will email the secretary to get any other stuff. Thank you.
Okay. If you'd like, you can contact us, any of us, and our phone number, I think my cell phone number is listed on our website. I'll actually give it to you because I give it to everybody. Do you have a pen handy?
Yes, I do.
Okay, my phone number is 818-470-6629. And I'm happy to meet with you offline. You can call me and if you would like to go through the process of registering or whatever questions you have, I'm happy to answer them.
I look forward to that.
We would
Thank
love
you so
to have
much.
your help. And
Thank
we
you.
have a great outreach committee who would absolutely love your help in helping us with marketing the board and our elections. So thank you again.
Thank
Nina,
you.
your hand is still up. Did you have another comment? Stick down. Okay, so Cindy, next item.
Okay. All right, so the next item is to review the election plans, and I believe under the budget items, we're going to cover some of this. So I'm just going to run through briefly. I'm really sorry for moving this so quickly. I hope you don't get dizzy.
Nothing but like a little nausea.
Okay, so once the candidate filing is ended and the candidates are certified by the city clerk, the STNC outreach committee is recommending that we do what we did last time. And so I apologize for seeing this stuff in 2021, but that's because that's what it was. The only thing that changed here in the middle is the different board positions this time, but all these will be updated to the current year. We did a 8.5 by 11 postcard that has all the candidates' names on it, and it's distributed throughout the entire community. So all of this will need to be updated with the current information and to be verified. More than likely, most of it is the same. It's just the dates that are different.
Cindy, can I stop you for a second?
Yes.
I want to just let people know we need to vote on whether we are going to do a similar package to what we had done last time. If we approve what we did last year to go ahead and move into this year, we'll do as much of it as we can. We already have money that we're voting on for the elections, and our outreach package was probably the most intensive and inclusive outreach package in the entire city last time. As you can see by this, even the card that went out to our residences was in 3 different languages. It was in English, Spanish, and Armenian. We had lawn sign, or we had banners in English, Spanish, and Armenian. We did lawn signs in, I'm sorry, we did the banners, then we did lawn signs in English and Spanish. We did posters. We also had many, I mean, tons of outreach done through Facebook and through the other outreach, online outreach programs. And we need to, as a board, approve to move forward with, if we just want to recreate these same documents and do it again versus starting over again. So I just wanted to have you think about that as Cindy's explaining this stuff, so you know that we actually have to vote if we're going to approve this. Thank you, Cindy. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically this is just showing you it's a 2-sided 8.5 by 11 postcard that goes out and is distributed by mail. The next page here shows the estimate, the quotes for the printing, and then there's the postage that will be paid directly. So we did get that updated information from our local printer at Sunland Printing. And I think that is it as far as, these estimates, I'm sorry, include the banners and some flyers as well for that. And we'll cover the dollars when we get to the budget. I think that's everything. This is the page on the website, so you can get to all the links for candidate registration. This is the schedule, the important dates. And right now, as you know, candidate filing is open, and it ends on March 20th. Okay.
And I did just want to tell for the new people that are here that our website is S as in Sam, T as in Tom, N as in Nancy, C as in cat, it's stnc.org. And this information, as far as how to file, all that stuff, there's a link to the election website, so you can go directly there. And also, you know, it's we all want to work to get voters out and candidates running. KT, I see your hand is up. Go ahead.
Just thought that people might want to know when they can register to vote for the elections.
Oh, that's in the calendar list also back here, right here. The vote by mail application period begins on April the 4th. And then the last day to apply for vote by mail is May 15th. We are an in-person as well. And so when you come to vote in person, you'll register on the spot at the moment of the election day on June 3rd. So if somebody knows differently about that, that's the way I understand it's going to go, because we're both by mail and in person.
Right. So I can actually clarify that. So this gives, last time what happened was we had a lot of people who felt disenfranchised because they had to turn in their DWP bill or their rent receipt or their driver's license online. So if you would like to get a ballot sent to you in the mail so you can mail it back in, you do still need to use that process. But if you'd like to vote in person and be able to just show those items and not put them through the internet, you're welcome to do that also. So just letting everybody know that there's 2 options this time. And we're hoping to have a robust election. And Cindy, are you done so we can vote to go ahead and move forward?
Yes.
Okay.
And election day is Saturday, June 3rd, and the time is 12 to 6 that day.
Thank you. So to remember that for the board members that are going to help try to find a location, we need to have the location probably between 11 and 7. So we have time to set up and clean up, or the city does. So thank you guys so much. Okay, so Cindy, I can't see the agenda, but I'm going to assume that the agenda item to approve this would be scrolling up really fast so I can call it out.
And so I'll move to accept the the outreach plan for the STNC board elections as presented.
This is
Thank
Nina,
you.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay, are there any questions from board members? If so, raise your hand. Okay, don't see any questions, so we'd like to go to the public. Is there anyone in the community that would like to raise their hand and make a comment? If so, it's *9 if you're on the phone, and or use the reaction button to raise your hand. I don't see any hands raised. Okay, back to the board. Are there any comments that you'd like to make? I don't see any hands raised. So we can go ahead and call for the vote.
Okay, if everybody could just unmute themselves. All right, Lydia Grant,
Yes.
never mind, Shauna Scanlon,
Yes.
Ed Babakanian,
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes, Lenny Freeman,
Yes.
okay. Katie Travers,
Yes.
Trevor Schmidt,
Yes.
thank you. Claire Gordon,
Yes.
thank you. John's absent. Karen Moran,
Yes.
Belinda Woodruff,
Yes.
thank you. Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
okay. Mike Goglia,
Yes.
thank you. Shirley Kim. Shirley Kim,
Shirley had to leave the meeting.
okay, and Chris Rowe still absent.
Yes.
Okay. Nina Royal,
Yes.
Cindy Claycorn,
Yes.
Sharon McCoy,
Yes.
Mark Siegel.
Okay.
Okay, just a moment. Okay, that's 16 yes, rest absent.
Thank you, Carol. So the next item on here is the possible motion regarding done election outreach through Pacoima Beautiful. We already voted on that at the last meeting, so we don't need to vote on it again. But I did want to also let you know that at the Valley Alliance of Neighborhood Councils, tomorrow night at their meeting, the city attorney will be there. And I have submitted a question in regards to that to the city attorney. So hopefully we'll get a response. But there is a letter we can send, or I can send, we've already approved it, but I just wanted to send it up on the agenda. We just wanted to make sure we could touch base on it. So we've done E, new STNC board will be seated on July 12th. We got that. 15 report from the land use committee. Is there a report from the land use committee this evening?
Just briefly, I don't know if anybody recalls, but there was a meeting held regarding the Canyon Hills development. That's a development that was approved back in 2005, and it's for 221 homes that is on the Tujunga side, but the exit is Latuna Canyon off the 210 freeway. And the meeting was with regards to the grading. It was well attended and there were a lot of questions. I recommend that anybody who wants to know more in depth to listen to the recording from last Monday night's land use committee meeting. There was a more extensive time given to that, and so that you can be up to date on what's going on with that potential development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hold on one second.
KT has her hand raised.
KT, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's quite all right. I'm just wondering if there is going to be a new environmental impact study done for the Canyon Hills, considering that practically 20 years has passed since it was approved and that there was a major fire in that corridor since it was approved. Do we know whether or not that's going to be required, or maybe what we can do in order to get that required?
At this point, it's not considered a requirement. However, your question has been asked by many, and I think perhaps it will take some communication and influence to make that happen, because you're not the only one. There's a lot of many questions and new information. In the course of this development approval process, the city extended the time that approvals can last. And this is why this one is touching upon the 20 years. And they're trying to get it started now in this late time. So if you have an interest in that, there's some folks that are very interested in doing that, and we gotta stay on it.
Cindy,
Thank
I
you.
would like, I'm raising my hand, not really, but I am. I would like to ask that we make a note to add this to our next board meeting agenda. I know that the land use committee feels they shouldn't take a position on this. I think that's hogwash. I think that we need to have answers. Since that project was approved, they have road dieted Latuna Canyon, so the ability for people to get out in the event of an emergency is much less. Also, we have to remember that they added the building bills, which started out as SB 50, SB 9, SB 10, and these other building bills that they're doing, that each of those properties, this is what, 220 houses. If an ADU and a junior ADU was added to each of those, that would be 660 something homes. That is not okay. And the fact that nobody's addressing that, it needs to be addressed. Our board needs to take action on it. I'd ask that the land use committee address it. If they choose not to, that's fine, but then we need to put it on the board agenda. And I'm happy, KT, if you'd like to sit down with you or call you, and we can maybe work out some wording of the issues we want to make sure gets addressed.
I'd be happy to do that with you, Lydia.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so moving on to the next item, Cindy, was that in on the land use? Was there
Yeah.
any questions, board members, anything else before we move on, or anybody from the audience? If you're an attendee and you have any questions in regards to this item, please raise your hand. I do not see any hands raised. Okay, thank you. Cindy, go ahead. Oh, Mark raised his hand. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I had mentioned during that meeting that Rick Purcell had personally assured me that they would be putting a fire station up there as part of this development, because we were, even back then, we were very concerned about the fire things. And the people that put on the presentation told me, oh gosh, darn, I must be misremembering it. However, we went back through the documents and I was 100% correct. So we need to push that very hard and show them what they did in the past and what they had promised and what they were ending up with. And they'll also, it's important to know that they'll have sewage pumps pumping the sewage uphill. And so if those pumps fail for some reason, people are going to have sewage backing up into their homes. Anyhow, those two items are really important. We should be pushing them on it. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mark. And if you could send me or talk to me or write down those issues so we can make sure we include them. Thank you. Anything else? Anybody else with their hand raised? Okay, moving on to the next item. Where are we at? Committee reports. Budget and finance. And go ahead. I always wonder why we call on you here and then call on you later. Like, let's do budget and finance and do the funding items all at the same time.
That's fine. Me.
Go ahead.
The main item, for us essentially, through January, right, coming up just beginning of February, we're at just about 13,000 spent of our $41,000 budget. Usually that would concern me because we just have a few months left in the fiscal year. We have a lot of items on the budget, on the agenda later on today to approve. So I think the message really here is, we do have about $25,000, $30,000 left to spend this fiscal year. If there is anything that's not on the current agenda or anything that's coming up very soon, please bring it to our committee so we can put that through the process, make sure we've got the money and make sure we set it aside. And the other thing is, for things that have been approved already, we've got to get going. I think there's a couple items that were approved early in the fiscal year we haven't really moved forward on yet. So we might need to reconsider those. And I might bring those back to the board just for reconsideration in the next committee meeting, just because they're kind of taking up space in our budget. And if we're not going to be used, we should, let those dollars go. But that's the key message here is, if you've got anything that needs to be funded, get it over as soon as you can. Also, we do have some open committee seats. So if anybody's interested in sitting on the Budget Finance Committee, please give me a shout. Thanks.
Thank you so much. So if you guys don't mind, we're going to move to item 17, consent calendar items for funding, so that we can clear up the funding issues. Note, the consent calendar items are considered to be non-controversial and will be treated as one agenda item. Any board member or stakeholder may request that an item be removed. There will be no discussion of these items unless an item is removed from the consent calendar, in which case it'll go to the end of new business and be considered as time allows. The motion, do I have a motion that the STNC board approves the funding consent calendar as recommended by the STNC Budget and Finance Committee? Let me go ahead and read those items. A, discussion action to approve the January 2023 monthly expenditure report and balances. Oh, I was told there is no more. Is that correct, Ed?
Not been generated yet. Nope.
Okay, so forget item A. So moving to item B, discussion update committee member Patty Potter's Excel spreadsheet with the budget recap update.
I think you pull that as well. I think that's just
Yeah, that's just an informational. Yeah, that doesn't need to be approved necessarily.
Great, thank you. So now we're moving to item C, discussion action to approve $150 for the STNC 20-year anniversary banner. D is discussion action to approve up to $100 sponsorship for Little Landers Historical Society for family game night. F is discussion action to approve up to $500 towards refreshments for the 10th anniversary outreach event at Welcome Garden. I'd like to pull that because I think we need to change the wording on it. F is discussion action approve up to $300 for graffiti coating for the Pinewood mural. G, discussion action to approve up to $12,500 for the STNC elections outreach. H is discussion and action to approve $112.12 to reimburse board member Carol Hutchinson for safety fair printing. And I is discussion action to approve Cindy Cleghorn as the alternate signer for BACs. Is there anybody who objects to any of these items or would like to pull them? Please raise your hand. Okay, not seeing any. I would like to go ahead and remove items A, B, and E from this consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar? Oh, KT, go ahead.
I'd like to pull item G.
Okay, we'll pull item G. So this is for items C, D, F, H, and I.
I'll move.
Okay, thank you. Ed, do I have a second?
I will, Nina.
Thank you, Nina. Okay, can we call for the vote?
Okay, folks could unmute themselves. All right, Lydia Grant,
Yes.
Shauna Scanlon,
Yeah.
Ed Babakanian,
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes, Lenny Freeman,
Yes.
Katie Travers,
Yes.
Trevor Schmidt,
Yes.
Claire Gordon,
Yes.
no, John, Karen Moran,
Yes.
Belinda Woodruff,
Yes.
Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
okay, Mike Goldlia,
Yes.
thank you, Shirley Zagon, Chris Grant, Nina Royal,
Yes.
Cindy Cleghorn,
yes.
Sharon McCoy,
Yes.
and Mark Siegel.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's 16 yes. Mr.
Okay, thank you.
Absent.
If you guys don't mind, let's go ahead and just finish these off instead of going to after new business because we're already focused on this and we've already discussed them, so, or brought them up. The reason that I pulled item number F which is the approved $500 towards refreshments for the 10th anniversary outreach event at Welcome Garden. The reason I pulled that one is because I would like to amend that motion. And you guys know I don't usually amend these things, but I'm doing this for a reason. Discussion and action. I'd like to make a motion to approve up to $500 towards refreshments and other items for the 10th anniversary outreach event at Welcome Garden. The reason I would like to do that is because I realized I do have the estimate for the food for the event, not drinks, but the food. But I have a concern that they may need additional things like tablecloths, or we need to check into what the city clerk is going to say about insurance. They may require us to have insurance. It is considered city property, but we need to have something. So I would rather take that approve up to $500, not change the amount, but for refreshments or other expenses for the 10th anniversary outreach event at the Welcome Garden. Do I have a second?
This is Carol.
Okay, so Carol seconded it. Ed was a third. Well, thank you guys very much. Let's go ahead and call for this vote. First of all, is there any comments from the community in regards to this item? If so, please raise your hands. I don't see any. Okay, go ahead, Mark.
There we go. Are they going to have like jumpers or anything like that there? And might the money be used for that?
No, not at this moment. At this time, I do not expect that. That was not something they requested money for. All they requested was for this up to $500. I can tell you the food estimate was about $250, so they wouldn't have enough for a bouncer, and I don't even know there's a space for it. So,
Marjorie Maxon has her hand raised. Maybe
Great.
she'd like to answer.
Okay, I will, but that's why I just want to cover them for anything else that should come up. Go ahead, Marjorie.
No, I think the amendment's a great idea, but yeah, there's no space for a jumper. It's going to be it's a pretty small area. It's just an area in the Welcome Garden. It's mostly just to look at the beautiful garden.
Thank you, Marjorie. Okay, so any other comments from anybody? If so, please raise your hand. Anybody from the board? Okay, let's call for the vote.
All right. Excuse me. Lydia Grant,
Yes.
Shauna Scanlon,
Yes.
Ed Babakanian,
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes. Lenny Freeman,
Yes.
Katie Travers,
Yes.
Trevor Schmidt,
Yes.
Claire Gordon,
Yes.
Karen Moran,
Yes.
Belinda Woodruff,
Yes.
Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
Mike Goldfield,
Yeah.
Nina Royal.
Yes.
Thank you. Cindy Claycorn,
Yes.
Sherry McCoy,
Yes.
and Mark Siegel.
Yes.
Yes, okay, and you again have 16 yes and rest
Thank you.
absent.
Thank you. So we're going to go back to item 16 for right now, which is committee and liaison reports. I want to make sure we don't miss any. Budget and finance did theirs, land use did theirs, stat committee. Is there anyone who has any comments for stat committee?
Still have one more budget number.
Okay, let's go ahead and finish that. And that is which one? Oh, for the elections.
Yes.
Okay, so
I'm going to take down and I'm going to share with you
Okay.
the budget, and then that way I think it'll help maybe.
Okay.
Before.
Kathleen, KT, did you have was there any reason particularly that you pulled that one out?
Yes.
So we can answer any questions.
Our budget altogether for everything that the neighborhood council does is approximately $40,000, correct?
It's 30,000 plus the 10,000 of rollover that we had saved from the previous year.
Okay, so then it's actually only 30,000.
Correct.
32.
And, for the period, yes. With elections, and I believe that outreach comes to approximately, for the period, about $7,000. So if you add the election, which is outreach, and outreach to outreach, you've got nearly 2/3 of our entire budget being spent on outreach. And my question is, isn't there more that could be done for the community with some of that money? I just think that it's an awful lot of money. And is it all 100% necessary? The city, or Dunn, is supposed to be providing outreach services. Whatever anybody thinks the caliber of those is going to be aside, they're supposed to be providing outreach services that I'm sure that they're spending a great deal on for the election. Is this all really necessary when considering that there are so many other things that could be provided for the community?
Okay,
I'd like to answer that.
thank you. Well, thank you for the comment.
Okay, first of all, as a point of order, the question is very broad and not specific to the agenda item. The agenda item is to approve up to 12,500 for elections outreach. So I just want to make sure that we're not, veering off. And
That's what I was going to say, Cindy. Thank you.
the other thing is you need to join the Budget and Finance Committee, or at least attend the meeting so that you understand more of the total overall budget of the neighborhood council, because you've put out some numbers here that I don't think are accurate. So that's one thing. So I don't know, Madam President, if her questions are germane to the motion.
Well, if we just deal then with the amount for elections outreach.
Okay, so I actually had a response that kind of covered both sections of it, but I'll go ahead and skip. So basically, this is the amount, this is basically the same outreach package we did last time. There's a little bit of a little bit of change in the amounts just due to inflation and additional costs of things. But this was the approved, same as the approved last election. We always know when we go into the election years that this is about what we're going to be spending. So for elections, elections are one of our biggest outreach events, which is why the focus on elections. And I would like to help answer that question that you had, KT, but we do have to stick specific to this item. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask, do we have a motion to approve? Or first of all, does anybody else have any comments in regards to the elections budget? Is there any comment from the community? Let's let them raise their hand first. If so, please raise your hand so that we can get your questions, or at least any comments that you have. Okay, so Nina, your hand up. Did you have a comment? First of all, do I have a motion to approve the STNC election budget as presented?
This is Carol. I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Shauna.
Thank you, Shauna. Okay, so Carol, go ahead, please.
No, my comment is when we go to our trainings, whatever you want to call it, they said the biggest things we do are pay our bills, which we have to pay, and that's a huge waste of money. If we want to talk about saving money, we shouldn't be spending money for storage. But second was elections and outreach. So really anything we do out in the community is great, and we like to do more. But the thing is, we need to engage the community. And, I don't know, I've lived in this neighborhood a few years, and there's just been a lot of turnover and a lot of new people, and we have very little big outreach. I mean, the coffee and tea events, I mean, that's it, these little events, but not everybody's on Facebook, and we just need to reach people, and it's going to cost us money. But you know what? If we can get people, if we can get their attention and get them coming in, then that's all the better, because that's the job of the neighborhood council, to engage the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Cheryl, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm pretty frugal. I hate wasting money, so I understand where KT is coming from, like just being careful how we're spending money. But I guess the reality of the situation is the best way to let people know about the election is to actually mail them that postcard or whatever, so that way it's getting to the people who live in Sunland-Tujunga, and it's just gonna cost a lot of money, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Lenny, go ahead.
Yeah, to KT's concern here, if you want to save money, then we need to move back into North Valley City Hall, because right now we're paying $18,000 a year for storage.
Thank you, Lenny. Cindy?
I wanted up on the screen is how this money's to be spent, and it is in banners that will go up throughout the community, and these are their costs. It's possible we won't use them all. It's also for some flyers, 1 and 2 sided flyers, and those are the estimates there for those. And then there's the mailer, which is what I shared with you earlier. This is where all of the candidates who are running will be listed on the mailer, so that that our neighbors in the community know who's running and where to go to vote. And then there's an estimate here for possible social media boosts, and then there's the postage estimate to the post office, and this total came to $9,612. But when we went to the Budget and Finance Committee, it was felt that we should leave the estimate at $12,500, only because there's the possibility of other items that may come up. And so we want to make sure that the budget item dollar amount is reserved. We would still need to come to the board and get approval for any other items. But such as, what if we wanted to have a barbecue, which we have done before on the day of election? We would have to come back to the board with that estimate. And then the alternate distribution other than postage is also indicated there, but that has limitations in terms of accessibility. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew what it was for, and then happy to hear more questions.
Okay. KT, go ahead.
Well, my big question would be then about the candidates mailer. A list of all of the candidates who are running. How much does that tell people when you think about if they just clicked on a website where they could see not only everybody listed, but their candidate statements and their pictures, the candidate forums, which will give them so much more information. I mean, does just listing all the names of all the people who are running, is that worth $3,200 plus postage? That's what immediately occurs to me. Everything else seems just way in line and reasonable. But that is what sticks out to me. And if I'm the only person who has any concerns about the cost of that, and I'm assuming that the postage is for the candidate mailer, I mean, altogether then, that adds up to $6,500 to send out a list of candidates. Is that the best possible use of that much public money?
I'd like to answer KT's question. I actually happen to have the full color one. What you saw is a little snapshot on the screen. It's not just about, so it has the candidates for the neighborhood council, and it has them broken down by all the people running for each particular seat. But it also has, that's one side, tells them how many they can vote for. And it is in 3 languages. including the map of Sunland-Tujunga and what region they would be in. They can see on the map. It also has the scan code that'll take them to the website, and it also tells them how to register to receive a ballot, how to register online. And then on the other side, it's in 3 languages. It talks about why they should vote, who can vote, and how to register to vote. And it would also include this time the location and date that they would come to vote in person. So it isn't just the list, it's all the information they need to be able to participate in the election. So I just wanted to share that because I happen to have it in front of me.
Thank you. That does bring my anxiety level way down to know that all the rest of that is on there too. But I still do think that that is a lot of public money for one mailing. And I think that, as you said, those other things on it are very valuable, but I don't feel like I would be doing my job if I didn't question this. So thank you for your answers.
And thank you for questioning it. Mark, go ahead, please.
Hi there. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and she brings up some really good points. In fact, if you look, the post office has raised the rates twice this year so far, and it will actually be more because when these were done, it was at a time when the rates were lower. However, through the years, what we have found is that, you know, and one of the things that is important for the neighborhood council to do is to reach out to the stakeholders as outreach. And that's one of the things that the city has saddled us with. Maybe that's not the right word, but it's one of the important things for the neighborhood council to do. So we have found through the years that sending out mailings is the most effective way to reach the most amount of people. We've tried all kinds of different ways, but what we found is responses of people learning about the neighborhood council, that it was actually the most cost-effective way. We've tried different things like walking man, putting things in people's mailboxes, and things on Facebook and things on social media, and having coffees and different events. But when it all boils down to is the most cost-effective way was using mailings. And it does seem like a lot of money in the lump sum that it is. But it does work good for getting the name of the STNC out into the public so people know what it is. You'd be surprised how many people still don't know what the neighborhood council is. And this is very helpful for that. So I hope that helps you somewhat. Anyhow, thank you.
Thank you. Sherry, go ahead, please.
Just a comment. That's 20,000, right? Printed items.
Yes.
Okay. So that's 16 cents per item.
Okay.
That seems pretty reasonable. And then I think Mark got at a question I was going to ask in terms of how grassroots do you really want to be? Because, you know, distributing those by hand, knocking on doors or whatever is easy in some residential areas, but not in all.
Thank you,
I
Sherry.
don't know. Yep.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you have more to add?
That was somewhat of a question just in terms of what the council has done in the past or has appetite to do in terms of saving that some portion of that postage.
This postage is the latest rates that just went up in January. It's an estimate. We have a distribution here in our community of about 17,500. But when you order this kind of a piece, you have to order the next bump up. So the rest will go into businesses and be distributed that way, left out for that if they'll take them, of course.
Makes sense. That's good.
Thank you. Okay, so do I have a motion to move forward? Did we already make the motion and second, Carol?
Yes, yes.
Okay, can we go ahead and call for the vote?
All right. Okay, Lydia Grant?
Yes.
Shauna Scanlon?
Yes.
Ed Babakanian?
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes. Lenny Freeman?
Yes.
KT Travers?
Yes.
Trevor Schmidt?
He's unavailable right now.
Oh, okay. Claire Gordon,
Yes.
hey, Karen Moran,
Yes.
Belinda Woodruff,
Yes.
Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
okay, Mike Goglia,
No.
no, okay, Shirley Kim is absent, Chris Rowe is absent, Nina Royal,
Yes.
thank you, Cindy Claycorn,
Yes.
Terry McCoy,
Yes.
Mark Siegel,
Yes.
okay. I think I miscounted. It should be, I've got 14 yes and 1 no and the rest absent.
Okay. So motion passes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So if we could put the agenda back up so we can make sure we don't miss anything. Thank you, Cindy. Okay, so we got the consent calendar for funding items. Now let's move on to the consent calendar for non-funding items. Okay, so we have consent calendar items, non-funding. Consent calendar items are considered to be non-controversial, be treated as one agenda item. Any board member, stakeholder may request the item be removed. There will be no discussion of these items unless an item is removed from the consent calendar, in which case it will go to the end of new business and be considered as time allows. Motion, the STNC board approves the non-funding consent calendar. Discussion and possible action to approve outstanding board meeting minutes. Cindy, go ahead.
I'll move.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
This is
A second.
I got Shauna.
Madam President, I do
Yes.
have, these minutes do need some corrections. So do we need to pull it from consent? Because,
Yeah, we would need to.
okay, then it's got to be pulled then.
Okay, so let's go ahead and finish it though. So what are the amendments that you'd like to see made to the minutes?
Well, there's corrections to spelling of board member's name.
That's it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well,
And
do I have a motion? Okay, do I have a motion to go ahead and approve the minutes with corrections?
Yes. I'll move to approve the minutes as corrected.
Thank you. And second?
I'll second. This is
Thank
Belinda.
you, Belinda. Okay, do I have any comments from the community on this item? If so, please raise your hand. I do not see any. Do I have any comments from board members? I do not see any hands. Carol, could you please call for the vote?
all right. Lydia Grant,
Yes.
Shauna Scanlon,
Yes.
Ed Babakanian,
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes, Lenny Freeman,
Yes.
Katie Travers,
Yes.
Trevor Schmidt,
No, not back yet.
okay, Claire Gordon,
Yes.
Karen Moran,
Yes.
Belinda Woodruff,
Yes.
Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
Mike Goglia,
Yeah.
thank you, Nina Royal,
Yes.
Cindy Claycorn,
Yes.
Sherry McCoy,
Yes.
and Mark Siegel.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is add an additional item to this meeting agenda before we go on to the next items and go back to the ones we might have missed. This is a really important issue and it needs to be added. I know that's not something we never do, but I want to read from, first of all, I'm going to read it from the state Brown Act that allows us to do this. And then I will read it from the city's version of it, just to make sure that everybody knows that we are following the rules. There is an issue that needs to be addressed. We just found out about it last night. We have to address it before our next board meeting. And so basically the policy is, hold on. There are two exceptions to the rule. Okay, so item number 4 is, it's not, it's the number I'm looking at. And this is on the city's Brown Act. This is from an attorney. A body may not take action or discuss any item that does not appear on the posted agenda. That's section 54954.2. There are 2 exceptions to this rule. The first is if the body determines by a majority vote that an emergency situation exists. The term emergency is limited to work stoppage or crippling disasters. The second exception, which is what this falls under, is that the body finds by a 2/3 vote. So we would need to have 2/3 of the board members vote for us to address this item of the present, or if less than 2/3 of the body is present by a unanimous vote. There is a need to take immediate action on an item, and the need for action came to the attention of the local agency subsequent to the posting of the agenda. That's section 54954.2 of the Brown Act. It means that if 4 board members or 5-member body are present, 3 voters are required to add the item. If only 3 are present. So basically we can go ahead and add this if we have 2/3 of vote of the board that they want to add this to tonight's agenda. Okay. So Cindy, can you put up and while I'm doing that, Cindy, if you could put up the letter that I sent, or Carol, I'm going to read you the city's version of that rule. This is under the rules for neighborhood councils, Brown Act rules for neighborhood councils. It says immediate action. Board members may take action if by 2/3 vote of the neighborhood council board, it determines that there is a need to act immediately, that the neighborhood council's consideration of the matter cannot wait till the next meeting of the council, and that the need for immediate action arose after the posting of the agenda. This should only occur in very rare occasions. And you should consult with the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. Well, the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment is the issue. We're going to go ahead and move forward. If we have 2/3 vote, I'm going to ask people, please don't abstain, because we actually need the votes if we're going to be able to address this. And Cindy, did you put up the letter, or Carol?
I don't have a letter.
I forwarded it to you.
Oh, did you? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So Mark, your hand is up. Go ahead.
I'm wondering, can you just, you're asking us to put something on the agenda to vote? What's the item you want put
That's
on
what
the
I'm
agenda?
asking for. It's for a letter, and I'm asking for the letter to be posted so that you can all see it.
Thank you.
And this will not be a vote. This is not a vote to pass it or not. This first vote will be for us to address the item tonight, to add it to our agenda. Yes, this is the letter.
Oh, okay.
So basically, I want to let you guys know, I did not find out this information till last night. So last night at the commission meeting, I was asking for a report from the department to let us know what the rules were going to be about us returning to in-person meetings. I wanted to know what the restrictions were going to be for were we going to have to check vaccination cards from people? What was going to be the policy? Because, they say, oh, you just go back to in-person meetings in March, but nobody is telling us and not giving us any information so that we know what we're going to need. We don't know, are we going to have hand sanitizer? Then we would need to vote to buy that. We're not being told any information. So one of the biggest issues that I had brought up last night was asking for, tell us what is going to happen. And so basically we were told that while they were going to do no COVID restrictions for the public, they were going to mandate that all the board members would have to be vaccinated with COVID vaccines. And whether you're a supporter of COVID vaccines or not, the issue is, should this be mandated on our boards? And is this a violation of law that they would allow the community to come in without being vaccinated, but treat the board differently? So this was the letter that we wrote today and who it would go to. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. And again, when we vote for this, I'm going to ask for a motion, and that's for us to address the letter. So this would be sent to Mayor Karen Bass, Raquel Beltran, the General Manager, Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, the Board of Neighbor Commissioners, the Los Angeles City Attorney, Heidi Feldstein, members of the Los Angeles City Council, and Los Angeles Department of Disability. So it says, to whom it may concern. On February 7th, 2023, at the Board of Neighbor Commissioners meeting, the department manager for the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, Raquel Beltran, stated that there will be no COVID restrictions for the public as we return to in-person neighborhood council meetings. It was also stated that COVID vaccines will be required for neighborhood council board members. We will not recognize nor abide by any rule, directive, policy, mandate, or other mechanism in which Dunn may seek to enforce different vaccination requirements for different people at our neighborhood council board meetings. Any rule, directive, policy, mandate, or other mechanism would violate our STNC board members' civil and constitutional rights of free assembly, equal protection, and due process. Additionally, several of our board members are disabled and may not be able to comply, and this effectively prohibits them from attending and discriminates against them simply because of their disability. This will prevent them from discharging their duties as neighborhood council leaders who are elected by their community. As there is no reasonable workaround, any rule, directive, policy, mandate, or any other mechanism cannot and will not be acceptable. We ask that you respond to this communication within 10 days with a confirmation that no such rule, directive, policy, mandate, or other mechanism will be introduced or enforced. Thank you very much for your prompt attention to this urgent matter. Lydia Grant, Sunland-Tujunga Neighborhood Council President. Mark, your hand is up.
I meant to bring it down. Thank you.
Okay, so do I have a motion for us to address this item this evening and add it to our agenda?
I'll make that motion. This is Nina.
Thank you, Nina. Do I have a second?
I'll
This
second.
is Belinda.
Okay, Belinda got the second on it. Just faster, Cheryl. Okay,
That's totally
so
fine.
the first thing, okay, so the first thing I want to do is, I don't think there would be any questions on whether we can address this because I've already read the statement. Are there any comments from the attendees at this meeting? If so, please raise your hand if you have any input. Okay, I don't see any hands from the attendees. And okay, go ahead, Kathleen.
You've addressed this to the Department of Disability, and it sounds like what you're saying is several of our board members are disabled and may not be able to comply. Are you saying may not be able to comply with having vaccinations?
Yes.
Okay, but there's also the situation where people with compromised immune systems won't be able to attend the meetings if the general public is there unvaccinated. There's also that situation, and that there needs to be an allowance for disabled members of the board who need to still attend the meetings virtually as opposed to in person if there are no rules about vaccination for the general public.
Correct. I'm in complete agreement with you, which is why this board had voted to continue meeting on Zoom, which is why Portantino was addressing that, to allow that as an option for us to continue meeting on Zoom. Eventually, we may go into a hybrid situation, but that has not been set up yet. So as of right now, they are making two sets of rules. The public does not have to be vaccinated and has no restrictions, but the board members do. And so we're trying to address this issue. So my question is, I have a motion, and so the motion is, will we address this issue tonight? That's all we're asking right now. And we need 2/3 vote to be able to do that. So I would ask, we have a first and a second. I would like Carol to call for the vote.
Okay. All right. Lydia Grant,
Yes.
Shauna Scanlon,
Yes.
Ed Babakanian,
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes, Lenny Freeman,
Yes.
KT Travers,
Yes.
Trevor Schmidt,
Yes.
Claire Gordon,
Yes.
Karen Moran,
Yes.
Belinda Woodruff,
Yes.
Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
Mike Goat. No, we lost Mike. Do we have Mike?
I'm still here.
Oh, you're still on. Okay. How do you vote?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Surely we lost. Okay, Nina Royal,
Yes.
Sydney Claycorn,
Yes.
Sharon McCoy,
Yes.
and Mark Siegel.
Yes.
And that's 15. So it's 2/3 exactly.
No, it's only 2/3 of those present.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So
okay.
it's unanimous. Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Now we can discuss to make sure that this is acceptable to everybody. So go ahead, Carol, your hand is raised. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm wondering where my constitutional rights come into this. I'm just wondering, I mean, how mandate me to put an experimental chemical into my body that's been shown to be ineffective or non-effective, doesn't stop infections, doesn't stop reinfections, doesn't stop hospitalizations, and has shown to have enormous amounts of side effects and deaths. So what I really don't understand where they get off saying, oh no, you have, these other people don't have to have it, just you. I mean, it really is starting to look like a deliberate attempt to disenfranchise the neighborhood councils. They come up with all these rules. There's nobody helps us with anything. They just seem to add more rules. And this is just vile. This is just vile. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So before we go into any more board members, I'd like the community to be able to speak so we can hear from them. Are there any community members that would like to weigh in on this issue before we make a decision? If so, please raise your hand. I don't see any hand raised, so we'll go ahead and go back to the board. So Carol, you've spoken. Cindy, did you have a comment?
I'd like to suggest that based on some earlier comments from KT, that she work with you to incorporate those into the letter and
I
make
agree.
adjustments and move this along. That's my
Okay.
suggestion.
Okay, Cheryl, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just with all the training we took about the bylaws and the code of conduct, it just doesn't seem to fit with all the training we've taken about, you know, we can't discriminate, right, based on race and sexual identity and gender, and then included in those is the disability, which you bring up in this letter. But I also want everybody to be aware of the religion aspect because, you know, like, for example, Christianity, they believe that the body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, right? So the whole idea of like, they don't take drugs, for example, but then with this COVID-19 shot, because it's mRNA and all of the issues with it, it really goes against somebody's conscience and their religious conviction. So we have to be really careful that we're not violating our own code of conduct and our own, like we've signed off on this already, that we're not going to discriminate. And then here we are discriminating, and I don't think we should discriminate. Thank you.
Thank you. KT, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yes, it seems that what the bear is doing here, or done, or whomever it was who laid down the rule, is that they're treating neighborhood councils as if they're employees. The members of the neighborhood council as if they're employees. They required employees of the city of Los Angeles to be vaccinated, but we are not employees. So not to give us workarounds like the possibility of continuing to Zoom or to hybrid, not giving us that possibility, but that everybody must report on March 1st, and that neighborhood councils are to be treated as employees and meet the same requirements as employees. I think that that's the greater unfairness there, because if you were indeed treated, if we were all treated like employees, employees were allowed the religious dispensation for being vaccinated. And employees with compromised immune systems did not have to come back into the workplace if it involved the public. There are ways that we're being treated like employees, but not being treated like employees. And it's a very confusing and difficult thing.
Thank you, Katie. Carol?
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Okay, so I'm going to go back over to the public. Marjorie Maxon, go ahead, please.
Oh, am I unmuted?
Sure, yes, you are.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. As to KT's comment, I think that I know that we've made the political decision, and I understand the economy has to go on, life has to go on, but COVID's still here. My kid is tested positive this week. So her fears are not theoretical. It's going around. It's extremely contagious. So, I mean, I think that's a lot to ask of a volunteer to, take a spin of the wheel. And I don't understand why there's this huge rush to do it next month. When, as you well know, it's very difficult, especially for a big group like the neighborhood council itself, to find a place to meet, to set it up, to do all that stuff. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Marjorie. Glenn Bailey, go ahead.
Thank you. Glenn Bailey speaking as an individual. I just wanted to comment regarding last night's bonk meeting regarding this. And that is that, yes, General Manager Raquel Beltran did state all board members only, not the public, do need to be vaccinated, quote unquote, in order to attend in-person meetings. She said the city would somehow, quote, manage, quote unquote, compliance, and that the process will be shared, quote unquote. It sounded to me like they don't yet know what the process will be, but they, just like with city employees, that they are the ones who are going to have to do the verification, not the neighborhood councils. I know that doesn't solve the problem, but the other thing I just wanted to say is this is citywide, affecting all of the boards and commissions, not just neighborhood councils, and it's not something that Dunn is imposing, but they are the, I guess you would say, the messenger. But my concern is we are 3 weeks away from starting in-person meetings, and they don't have no idea how the process is going to work to do all this. They haven't worked it out, they haven't shared it, and the reason they haven't shared it is they haven't figured it out. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Glenn, because you basically confirmed everything I was saying. And what Ms. Beltran said, what I believe it was, that this is coming from personnel, and because they are considering us employees in this matter. So that would mean if they did it the same way they did it for the city employees, that we would all have to go and for what I remember, and we would have to prove to personnel that we had been vaccinated. So I think that's just completely out of line, which is why I wrote this. And once this letter, if it is approved, we will send it out to the neighborhood council presidents so they can see the action we've taken, and they may want to take similar actions in sending a letter. So Mark, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if you mentioned this in your letter or not, but I think what you should do is ask them to rethink this so that we can have combined meetings where it's virtual and in person, so that people can choose what is healthy for them. And that's the goal. That should be the direction that the department is working on. And that Beltran should go back to the city and say, hey, this is a special situation, the way that these things are designed, and that commissions could do this too. And that they should work towards, like I say, the combined meetings, or whatever you call it, where you have both virtual and in person. So
yeah,
thank you.
So this is where we stand right now. The city, the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment has worked with the EVG group, and they did want to come present to us, but at this point we didn't have a location to meet. So it really isn't up to us to vote on this yet. And basically the EVG group is basically telling the city council that any of the pilot programs, so they have 14 neighbor councils chosen to be pilot neighborhood councils to see if EVG will work. But each of those neighborhood councils will need $15,000 to buy the equipment, which they want the city council to pay for directly. And then they want to use the process as a pilot program to see if it will work. We are talking at least a year before hybrid is going to be effective. The department also said that there are ways we could do hybrid, but the rules are insane. Len can help me out with this, AB 4299 or whatever it is, basically has all these rules like you could not just be hybrid all the time. You could only use hybrid 3 times in a calendar year. You would have to announce everybody that that is over 21 at the location that you are at doing the hybrid meeting. There's only a couple of reasons you could do hybrid. One of those would be that you are ill. A second one would be that you are at work. I mean, I'm just going over some of the basics. So that Senator Portantino is trying to change the Brown Act so that neighborhood councils can go back to in-person if they choose. Go back to in-person if they choose, or if their community chooses that we can be online using the virtual system and eventually potentially move into a hybrid. But that it's just not, we cannot do hybrid until the Brown Act has been changed. And so that is going to be down the pike. Like Declan said, it could be months before they could even allow us to come back to Zoom until they figure out hybrid. So this is why I felt that we needed to take action immediately to send a message to the city that we're not going to allow neighborhood council board members to be treated differently than the public when it comes to mandating things about their health. It's just not okay to me, and I'm just making my statement now. But so does anybody else have any comments before we go to the vote on this?
I do.
So Nina?
I feel that it's very demoralizing. And I feel that we really do not have the support for neighborhood councils that was intended. And I think we should let that be known, that we know what's going on, because I'm sure other people feel the same way that I do. And it has to stop. It really has to stop. If neighborhood councils are going to be successful or continue to be successful, they have to work with us instead of against us. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Okay, so can we go ahead and let's call for the vote?
Okay, and I'm sorry, who?
I was going to say, okay, do I have a motion to approve the letter as written? We'll have it checked for any typos.
I'll motion to approve the letter.
Thank you, Belinda. Do I have a second? KT, go ahead. Your hand is
You
up.
had mentioned that we were going to amend the letter.
Okay, do you have the language for that?
I don't have it yet. That's why I was but several people had restated what it was that we were going to consider, which was the necessity of some people, because of medical situations, to have to continue via a virtual meeting.
Yeah, see, the problem is we can't because state law says we can't. And this is a letter that's going to the city.
No, but I mean, just to include that as a situation that they're making it untenable for neighborhood councils because of these various different reasons.
Okay, so do you want me to just add that to the letter? We'll approve the letter as amended to include the necessity of some disabled people to be able to need to participate, to continue
participating virtually. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm happy to add that.
Immunocompromised people.
Well, we can't break it down like that. We need to be fair to everybody. It does not just immunocompromised people. I mean, people could have mobility issues. They may be in bed half the time like I am. I mean,
Okay.
should be anybody who has issues, but participating virtually. I'm adding that. Okay, so we have, I see hands up. Okay, wait a minute. First, so who would like to make the motion for the amendment? That was KT. Do I have a second for that?
No, Belinda made the motion. Who's going to make the second?
For the amendment? We're doing an amendment.
Oh, Okay.
Can I make the motion to second?
Absolutely. You made the motion. So who would like to second KT's motion to add the part about people being able to?
This is Cindy.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cindy was a second. Okay, and now that we have the amendment on the floor, we need to go back because I see hands raised in the community. So Glenn, go ahead.
Thanks. So I do want to make comment, and that is, this seems very much related to the whole issue of in-person slash virtual slash hybrid of Council File 221070, but I'm not sure which agenda item, if that's listed on here. But anyway, my bottom line is you may want to also file it as a community impact statement on that Council File 22-1070. What agenda number is this?
Yes.
It doesn't have an agenda number.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree with Glenn to include it in the council file. Thank you, Glenn.
Glenn, what council file was that?
22-1070. We already have a CIS in on that council file.
But we need to add this letter.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you're in the middle of the motion and you're
Yeah,
back to your
so-
vote.
Okay, so do I have any board member comments on the amendment? I don't see any hands raised.
Okay, or raise my hand real quick.
Yeah.
So if, as long as we're amending it like that, should we amend it to the religious objections also?
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I would not change the wording that's here, and I'm gonna tell you why. This is just my opinion, and you guys can vote against it. That's fine. We can approve the amendment. But I had a friend that is a lawyer help me write this. He wanted to make sure that we did not go into emotional or any other thing, but to make sure that we were laying the groundwork to the city that this is discrimination and it is not okay. And he felt that we shouldn't vary that message, that we can add things. We've already taken positions on we've already taken positions on trying to get the hybrid. We've taken positions, like Cindy said, we've already filed the council files. We really have been working to get the things that Kathleen is asking for. We're working to do that. And the lawyer felt that we should stick directly to this topic only. So it's up to you guys if you want to do that. We will vote on the amendment first. So if we're going to add that about the necessity to be able to participate virtually and the council file, then we're actually taking away, in my opinion, from the purpose of the letter. But we can go ahead and vote on the amendment. It's up to the board to decide, not me. So let's go ahead, and Lenny, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yes, I like you made a good point there about what the lawyer said about sticking to it and not drifting off purpose. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. I will vote no on the amendment.
Okay. And with all due respect, I absolutely agree with what you guys are saying. I do. I see the necessity, and I actually think maybe we should write another stronger letter and put it on our next agenda. We had talked about maybe having a special meeting later in the month, but maybe what we should do is put a letter together just for that. Kathleen, I totally hear what you're saying, and maybe we need to stress the disability issues and the fact that our board members were elected and have been under COVID the whole time. They have never had to have public meetings, and now this is being pushed on them. And I think that this should actually be a full letter in itself, in my opinion. But anyway, let's go ahead and go for the vote. So this is a vote for the amendment to add the necessity that we allow people to participate virtually due to potential disability issues.
Okay.
And adding the council file number.
Okay. All right. Lydia Grant?
No.
Shauna Scanlon?
No.
Ed Babakanian?
No.
All right. Carol Hutchinson will vote no. Lenny Freeman?
No.
Katie Travers?
Yes.
Okay. Trevor Smith?
He's not available.
Oh, okay. Claire Gordon,
Yes.
Karen Moran,
No.
Belinda Woodruff,
No.
Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
okay, Mike Goshia,
No.
okay, Nina Royal,
No.
Cindy Claycorn,
Yes.
Jerry McCoy,
Yes.
and Mark Siegel.
Abstain.
Okay. So that's 9 no's and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yes.
Okay, so we're not going to add it in. Kathleen, I would ask you when we get together to work on the Whitebird letter, if we could work together on putting a letter together for this too.
Sure.
Because I think your issues are really important. We definitely need to raise it. I believe we have more disabled people on this board than any other board in the city. And I think that we need to stand up for them. And so now let's go ahead and go back to the agenda so we can make sure we didn't miss anything. And I really don't want to, I want to make sure that we touch on the committee. If anybody had a committee report, I want to make sure that we address those. We did budget finance, we did land use, stat, Pat was already here and she did speak. I understand that, Pat had also asked to let people know that there's going to be an emergency preparedness fair. Cindy has that information. Cindy, can we post that on the website for the community?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do that. The START committee,
Pierce College, by the way.
it's at Pierce College, yeah. So it's kind of far for us, but we want to make sure that people have the information.
Close from San Francisco.
So we got community improvement, Lala's not here, outreach. Shauna, did you have anything else for outreach that you wanted to mention?
No, I think Cheryl covered it.
Okay, the START committee.
KT may have
Yeah, I can update you on that.
and
We were not able to have our regular presentation of an artist from his or her or their studio because we didn't have one signed up for this month. And I'd like to send out an appeal to all of you. If you know of a community, a Sunland-Tujunga community artist, sculptor, writer, whatever, who would like to share their work and their workspace with the START committee, please have them contact us.
Thank you.
You don't get left without one of those wonderful presentations ever again.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And I believe we've been putting those, we've been posting those. You guys, I'm sorry, I messed up. We've been posting them and I think that the community does look forward to them. And I actually have an idea for when I'll pass by KT when we talk. Just to let you guys know, I messed up and we voted down the amendment for that letter, but we forgot to vote on the letter. So I'm sorry, we're gonna have to go back and vote to if we're gonna approve the letter as written. I'm sorry, you guys. So we already have a first and second from when we were going to address the letter before the amendment. So we can go ahead and just go straight to the vote.
Okay, Lydia Grant,
Yes.
Shauna Scanlon,
Yes.
Ed Babakanian,
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes, Lenny Freeman,
Yes.
KT Travers,
Abstain.
okay, Claire Gordon,
Yes.
thank you, Karen Moran,
Yes.
Belinda Woodruff,
Yes.
Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
Mike Gotlia,
Yeah.
Nina Royal,
Yes.
Cindy Claycorn,
yes.
Sherry McCoy,
Yes.
and Mark Siegel.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, I'm looking at the list of committees. Is there an update on the beautification committee? Marjorie, did you have something you wanted to tell us about?
Well, we're just working away on the Pinewood mural. This is our last month. It was kind of hard in January because it was so cold and rainy and all that, but we're plugging away. We're working every day we can. So
Okay,
that's what we're doing. And then we already talked about the Welcome Garden 10-year celebration, which is,
Okay.
it's quite a remarkable feat. Mostly Roger Clem and people that have helped him throughout the years. You know, it's really a cool place. And that's it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, I have an update for everybody. I'm doing a liaison port for Lank. Even though this wasn't just a Lank issue, I wanted to tell you guys something very exciting for neighborhood councils. We took a position last month in regards to the municipal lobbying ordinance. The lobbying ordinance had not been updated. Glenn, you can correct me. I believe it was for over 20 years that they've been using the same ordinance. They had the same guidelines of who would need to report themselves as a lobbyist. And as we found at our neighborhood council meeting, that people were coming in that were lobbyists or with nonprofits that were lobbyists, and they were not letting us know that they were lobbyists. They were hiding their identities and not telling us what group that they were with. So now that will not be allowed. The lobbying ordinance was addressed in a first time ever feat of getting neighborhood councils to agree on something. 45 neighborhood councils out of 99 submitted CISs on that council file. And it went to the committee yesterday, I believe. Gosh, I was at that meeting too. It was a committee meeting about the corruption at City Hall and refocusing and trying to make things better. And ethics had submitted it. And we basically not only got what the neighborhood councils were requesting, but we also got better than that. They made it even tighter. So it's very exciting because now people have to be open and honest when they come to our boards about who they are and who they represent. So I think that's critical for us. And it's, like I said, a huge feat for neighborhood councils. That was one of the things I wanted to tell you. Also, I'm going to add one other quick thing, KT, this is for you. If you could make a note, just because it may slip my mind. I did receive an email in the STNC portal, which is how people contact us to let us know things or if they want something on the agenda. A message came through that was a comment in regards to the Canyon Hills project that I think the whole board should hear, which is why I'm saying this. And that is, it says, was the fact that the Canyon Hills project is going to be digging on Tongva lands ever raised at all? So if you could make that note so we can address that when we go to that issue.
I certainly will.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on, the ad hoc bylaws committee and standing rules. I need to get together with Sandy so we can get those standing rules completed. So before the new board comes in, they actually have standing rules to follow and aren't left floundering. We did the consent calendar items. I think we got everything up above. Cindy, do you see something we missed?
The outreach committee, I know Shauna conducted and held a great meeting this last time. I want to let also, I mean, you should hear from her, but name badges. I know that this event is Saturday. If anybody doesn't have a name badge, please stop by my shop and pick your name badge up because it's here.
Okay, thank you. And I think we have a couple upcoming events. So if you can make it to the STNC, you know, with the STNC. Also to let you know, it was mentioned earlier by, I think, Sergeant Ojeda, but Hanson Dam on Sunday, the kids from our community are going to be running a half marathon. It's at Hanson Dam.
No, it's
I'm
18
sorry.
miles. So it's actually longer
Cheryl's
than a
gonna
half
tell,
marathon.
Cheryl's gonna tell you about it. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Okay, yeah. Well, my son is on the team, the Mount Gleason Students Run LA. But yeah, it's Students Run LA from all over LA. So yeah, if anybody wants to come, I think the kids will be done around 11 a.m. because they start at 7:30 a.m. unless you want to be there in between, also like cheering them on. I mean, there's going to be different spots you could set up and cheer people along. The Mount Gleason team in particular, the parents are setting up near the skate park area, which I think is kind of closer to the Discovery Cube section. So yeah, I mean, we're having a potluck afterwards, but I mean, if you wanted to bring a dish to share, like come on by. I would say if you get there by 11, you're fine. Or if you want to come earlier and make a sign, just cheering on all of the students, that would be great. Yeah, but it's 18 miles and they'll do 2 loops. So 9 miles and then 9 miles. And then the LA marathon is March 19th. But they've been training a long time, like 4 times a week they're training. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Go, Cindy, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Glenn is here and perhaps he has updates also from Budget Advocates he would like to share. And with regards to the standing rules, and I would like to encourage or emphasize that we do this in the next 30 days.
Yes, we need to get it done before the election. We'll work with Sandy because she's the chair of the committee. We have to work with her. Okay, Glenn, did you want to give us an update on Budget Advocates?
Well, I'd like for Cindy to give it, but I do want to acknowledge Cindy's stepping up to the plate and representing Sunland-Tujunga and the other areas in the Northeast Valley by participating with the Budget Advocates. That's real important because we haven't always had that. So thank you so much, Cindy. There was an e-blast sent out at the end of the month, which was our report, gave an overview report. So I won't take your board time at this point. You should have that in your email. I do want to emphasize, though, the most timely item on that was the town hall that we're having this Saturday at 12:30 p.m. virtually online with the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment proposed budget for next fiscal year. There's a lot of things in there that affect neighborhood councils. It's important that neighborhood councils understand what's being proposed. Now, this was submitted to the previous mayor. We have a new mayor now, so we don't know, how that's going to work. And then once the mayor makes her recommendations to city council, then it's up to the city council to then, it'll be part of the hearing process after it's submitted on April 20th. So I know it's been presented at other meetings, but this is the only item on this agenda on Saturday. So there'll be a full presentation and lots of opportunity for getting questions answered. Last year we did this and we had 100 questions. We got to a lot of them, but not all of them. So we will ask the department to answer any questions that aren't answered. And also when you register, and by the way, you can register from the website budgetadvocates.org. There will be an opportunity there if you want to ask questions to submit a question, although it's getting kind of late because today's Thursday night. But they will group the questions and try to do their best to get them answered. So that was the most urgent thing I wanted to mention. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think we covered anything. Does anybody see anything that we missed? I know I had skipped some, but I think we might have gotten to all of it now. Okay, so if you guys want to scroll down, so let's go to general public comment.
Yeah.
We didn't get to that earlier. Is there any community members who'd like to make a public comment? If so, please raise your hand. I don't see any hands raised. Let's go ahead, and I can't see the agenda. So I'm going to guess that board comments are next. Any board members have a comment?
Oh, Cheryl has her hand raised.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Cheryl.
can I, for the coffee and tea with the STNC on Saturday, I kind of know a couple people who said they would be there, but it'd be nice to like know for sure like who plans on coming.
Me.
Nina?
Mhm.
Cheryl, this is Sherry. I plan to be there as well. What
What's
time
that?
do you need help?
Let's have a show of hands. Who's gonna be there?
If you could meet me there at 9:30 and then we can start setting up, and then I'm gonna go run over to go get the coffee. It's not that far from there, and then I'll bring the coffee back. But if the table could be already set up and then somebody staying with the table, obviously, because that was kind of the dilemma I was gonna have, was I didn't want to leave the table unattended, you know? And if people come, if maybe you could just bring like a camping chair, because I don't know if we want to get a bunch of chairs out of storage, because I don't really want a huge table and a huge, like, that's a lot of work, right, Lenny, to get things in and out of storage. So I'm trying to
Oh,
keep it
yeah.
simple. So
Mhm.
maybe just bring a folding chair of your own, maybe.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we can all put our hands down. Okay, and then past general public comment. Any other final announcements? Anybody have something they need to add or would like to tell us? And okay, then we're going to adjourn the meeting at 9:51. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate the time that you put into the board. And I know that the community appreciates it too. So thank you. We're going to adjourn the meeting at 9:51.